My husband smiled and gently stroked our daughter's head. He said he would take a bath and go to bed, and leave the living room. My daughter was staring at the back of my husband. "What's wrong, Jenny?" "It's nothing." It was a few days later. On that day, my husband was on a business trip and I and my daughter were alone at home. While I was preparing dinner, my daughter spoke to me from behind. "Hey, Mom." What's the matter?" "Actually, I can't believe my ears when I hear what I've been told." But she looked me straight in the eye and continued. "About Dad just now, he might not like Mom like the previous dad did." "What?" "You know, I saw my father with a woman I didn't know. And they were taking a photo. I am Layton. I am a full-time working mother who also manages household responsibilities. Your workplace being a bit far away, getting home at a later hour than my husband despite leaving at regular hours is currently a concern for you. Other than that, I live a very happy life. But 3 years ago, I was in the depths of unhappiness. The reason is divorce due to my ex-husband's affair. I was working full-time while raising my daughter Jenny on my own. Then, when I reached my physical and mental limits, I met my current husband, Nigel. Nigel is a man 5 years younger than me. In a state where both my mind and body were worn out, he kindly embraced and supported me. We met a year ago and got remarried 6 months ago. Since it's a remarriage with children involved, there may have been some concerns from their side as well. However, my husband's parents were very kind people, just like my husband, and they accepted me immediately. And this marriage was also supported by my daughter, Jenny. "Mommy," I like smiling Mommy. "What's going on all of a sudden?" You know, I've been thinking lately that Mom seems troubled. I wonder if it's because of the man you've been going out with recently." Your daughter's words surprised me, and I widened my eyes in astonishment. I never imagined that she would think such a thing. Girls grow up really fast. Did you notice? Yes, but, you know, Mommy always smiles when you're thinking about that person or talking about that person, and I think you love that person. And I thought, Mommy's worried because he doesn't like her. Yes. I thought maybe you want to live together. Your daughter did her best to convey her feelings with her limited language skills. I've been feeling guilty somewhere deep down all this time. To him, who decided to marry me despite my divorce and having a child, and then to introduce a stranger to my young daughter as her father. That's why, Mommy, I'm happy that Mommy is happy. So it's okay to be happy, right? My worries disappeared at once with my daughter's words. My daughter is 10 years old this year. She's a slightly precocious and adorable little girl. She loves fashion, and whenever we go shopping together, she spends ages at the hair accessories shelf. But about 3 months ago, she came home covered in mud almost every day. I realized this one morning. Oh, is this mud? I was trying to do laundry while thinking that the detergent was depleting quickly. When I touched my daughter's clothes, I noticed that they were strangely damp. Upon closer inspection, I noticed tiny bits of grass clinging to my daughter's clothes. It seems like precisely the kind of mud stain that would be disguised by hand washing. Come to think of it, lately, my daughter has always been in the bath when I come home. Jenny, have you been playing outside a lot lately? What? Why? I was curious, and when I asked her at dinner that day, she was openly upset. After all, I was convinced and continued with my words. You've been taking a bath every time I come home lately, right? Is there any interesting game that is popular? Oh, yes, that's right. When I play with Layden, I'm always doing the same thing these days. That's right. She is clearly hiding something. Is she doing something wrong? When I was thinking about what to ask next, my husband gently stopped me. Well, it's good. Jenny is only in 4th grade. She can be playing outside in the mud. It's not like that. You know, Jenny, you're not going into a dangerous place, are you? The daughter nodded silently. She had a somewhat relieved look on her face. There was still something bothering me, but if my daughter didn't want to talk about it, I couldn't force her to reveal it. So, for now, I decided to keep quiet today. However, I did mention to be cautious about not using too much detergent. Okay, be safe and play outside as much as you want. My husband smiled and gently stroked our daughter's head. Then, he mentioned he was going to take a bath and head to bed, leaving the living room. The daughter stared at the back of my husband. What's wrong, Jenny? It's nothing. It was a few days later. On that day, my husband was on a business trip, and I and my daughter were alone at home. While I was preparing dinner, my daughter spoke to me from behind. Hey, Mom. What's the matter? Actually, I can't believe my ears when I hear what I've been told. But she looked me straight in the eye and continued. About Dad just now. He might not like Mom like the previous dad did. What? You know, I saw my father with a woman I didn't know. And they were taking a photo. The camera was something my daughter begged me to buy for her 8th birthday. She seems to really enjoy it, and I often see her distributing the photos she takes to her classmates. In the photo that my daughter showed me, my husband and a woman were hugging each other in a house somewhere. From the out of focus and the green object in the foreground, you can tell that the shooting is being done hidden somewhere. This is. Recently, I've been keeping an eye on Dad with Layden. I don't want Mom to look sad again. But she told me that if we keep it a secret like this, Mom will be even sadder. She also showed me a picture of my husband and a woman passing through the ticket gates of the station, talking in a coffee shop in a friendly manner, and meeting in front of a department store. Every time I look at each one, I feel my hands begin to tremble. However, when I saw the look on my daughter's face as she looked up at me anxiously, I hugged her tightly with trembling hands. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry I made you do this. Mommy, are you sad? Yes, I'm sad, but I'm happy. Mommy, are you happy? My daughter looked up at me with wide eyes at my words. I smiled at her and continued. Yes, I'm glad that Jenny is such a reliable girl. From there, I began to move to find out the truth. To prevent anything from happening, I told my daughter to stop keeping an eye on her husband for a while. It's already the second time I've had to resort to hiring a private investigator. I must really have bad luck with men. When I went to the same place as before to make the request, the woman who assisted me gave me a sympathetic look. I couldn't help but give a wry smile. After a while, I had a lot of evidence about my husband's infidelity. The amount and unbelievable content makes me sigh involuntarily. A hotel, a home, then a restaurant, an amusement park. My husband's affair partner was his ex-wife. It seems that there is also a child between the two. Moreover, I didn't know that my husband was a bad guy until I did this research. I didn't know that my husband's first lie would be found out in such a place. On top of that, there was something even more shocking. He's thinking of remarrying his ex-wife soon and we're living together, and I'm really going crazy. In the first place, my husband seemed to like his ex-wife now and in the past. 2 years ago, my husband and his ex-wife had a heated argument fueled by alcohol and ended up divorcing. It's said that his ex-wife then left with their daughter, and they went somewhere. On the other hand, my husband deeply regretted it once the alcohol wore off. Even after he met me, he had been searching for his ex-wife all along. Finally, 3 months ago, they met again. From there, my husband took a ridiculous action. My husband retired from work 2 months ago. According to the testimony of those around him, he told his ex-wife that he was working the night shift and that he was working the day shift for me. An excuse to vacate this house during the day and leave that house at night. In other words, he was leading a double life between us, his new family, and his ex-wife and their child. My husband lived as a father in both of those families. The surreal truth about my husband was so unbelievable that I felt dizzy. I can't go on like this. It's not that man who will be unhappy if he is left alone, but me, my daughter, and the ex-wife and their child. With that in mind, I immediately took action. The next day, I visited my ex-wife's home. It is another home where my husband lives a double life. I'm sorry for asking so suddenly. I'm Nigel's wife and my name is Leighton. Yes. When I visited, my husband was away shopping with our children. I showed the photo I brought with me to his ex-wife, Anne. It's a casual everyday photo. It was a photo taken by 3 family members on my daughter's birthday. Your ex-husband, Nigel, is now married to me. What? Didn't you know that he seems to be living his life as a father both for us and for you? It's a lie, isn't it? And is extremely upset by the fact that I told her. I understood that she didn't know anything just like me. With a hint of sympathy, I continue. He's telling you that he's working night shifts, right? But those night shifts actually mean living here with us as a father. Here are the detailed investigation results from the private investigator. Could you please listen to me for just a moment? I understand. And almost collapsed, but let me into the house. Her house is an ordinary apartment. If I look at it without any preconceived notions, it was a floor plan that seemed to be a happy family. The father of this family is my husband. I was led into the living room and shared with her the information I had learned from my research. Such a stupid thing. It's understandable that it's unbelievable. But this is the truth. Oh my God. Anne's reaction was similar to mine when I learned this fact. I continued talking, thinking that it's only natural for her to react that way. I'm considering demanding a divorce from my husband here today. Originally, I had thought about demanding compensation from you as well. But I've changed my mind. Would you like to confront our husband together? Is it okay? Technically, I would end up being labeled as his affair partner. Yes. But my anger towards my husband is much, much greater than anything else. Then we waited for my husband to come home, talking for a while, talking about what had happened. The story leading up to her divorce is interesting in its own way, and I would like to talk about it again over a cup of tea when this whole case is over. With a nodding in agreement with my suggestion, we decided to hold the after-confrontation gathering at a cafe. Such a good time is fleeting. After about 30 minutes of talking, our husband came home. We keep an eye on each other and greets him at the door. Welcome back. I'm home. Can I leave it to you to put the ingredients in the fridge? I've got a little errand for Ed. Okay. I take a deep breath as I listen to her lead Ed out of the living room and into the room. Then he said to the open living room door. Welcome back, Nigel. Ha! The look on my husband's face at that time was so goofy that I will never forget it. So, now that I have all the evidence here, how are you going to make excuses? I'm sorry. I don't want an apology, I want an explanation. Nigel, what's really going on? After she put away the groceries my husband brought home, we surrounded him as we all sat on the floor together. Hunched shoulders, our husband looked small and trembling. You said you wanted to start over with me. Yes. But you're married to Leighton now, can you explain? Anne's words were filled with anger towards our husband. The back of her eyes with a smile on her face is clearly not smiling. You see, it was just a moment of weakness. You said your relationship with me was a moment of weakness. But I'm the same person who is angry. In the same way, when I questioned him, he could only shrink as if he were shrinking. It's like being surrounded on all sides. In this situation where supporting one side means abandoning the other, our husband sweats profusely, feeling trapped. That's not true. Well, yes, maybe I acted impulsively, but it's not like that. Not true. So, our relationship was just a game to you. Involving Ed as well, how exactly do you plan to take responsibility for all of this? You're truly despicable. I have a daughter too, and has children as well. Do you realize that your actions could ruin not just our lives but also the lives of our children? I didn't mean to. My husband's explanations kept going around in circles, never reaching a resolution. Faced with this deadlock, I let out a deep sigh. I really have no judgment when it comes to men, do I? It's frustrating. Here, the divorce papers are here. Could you please fill them out? Wait a minute. Oh, so you didn't intend to divorce. But you said you wanted to remarry me. No, I don't. With my husband's words dwindling into feebleness, I no longer harbor any regrets. With a loud thud, I slammed the divorce papers in front of my husband. You can do anything, but I'm going to divorce you, and I'm going to get alimony, and after you write this, you're free to do whatever you want. I don't particularly want to remarry you either. Just continue paying child support as usual, and I won't interfere with you ever again. Now, please leave this house immediately and go wherever you want. Wait, both of you, I'm going to beg you. Neither I nor Anne paid any attention to the clinging husband anymore. I won't waste any more time talking to such a pathetic person. I told my husband one last thing as he continued to cling to me. Goodbye, I'll get rid of all your luggage. Please don't come home again. Goodbye, neither Ed nor I want to see you anymore. Don't show your face again. My husband's pleading was futile by now. Neither I nor Anne would ever show pity to this man again. After that, I filed a divorce and a claim for alimony against my ex-husband as declared. Moreover, as a result of further investigation, it turned out that my ex-husband had withdrawn money from my and Anne's savings passbook without permission and used it. He was charged with theft. The ex-husband, who had been unemployed for the past 2 months, was now wandering between 2 families, depleting his savings. I was wondering where such an ex-husband got the money from, but it makes sense. Well, I guess we really don't have any judgment when it comes to men, do we? At least Anne is still better off. As for me, it's my second time with someone like him. Anne and I decided to launch at the cafe as promised. Although the topic was mainly the complaints of the ex-husband, not pleasant memories of the past. Well, I've had enough of marriage, that's for sure. Yes, really, by the way, Ed and Jenny have become quite good friends. Yes, there were a lot of things, but I'm really glad they seemed happy. And after the turmoil with the ex-husband settled, we found ourselves bound together by a strange, almost comradeship-like bond. I often take my children with me and go out with the 4 of us. Although we have different personalities, we are very close. Mother, Ed gave it to me. Oh, the flower ring. Yes. As a thank you, I made this with a 4-leaf clover.